Tonight on Crossfire, President Obama's second-term blues. New poll numbers at record lows. His judicial nominees blocked. His signature achievement in intensive care.
There's nobody in this town's doing particularly well at the moment when it comes to opinions of the American people.
How does the president come back? On the left, Van Jones. On the right, S.E. Cupp. In the Crossfire, Joe Crowley, a Democratic congressman, and Ralph Reed, a conservative activist. Can President Obama save his second-term agenda? And can Republicans resist the temptation to self-destruct? Tonight on Crossfire.
Welcome to Crossfire. I'm S.E. Cupp on the right.
And I am Van Jones on the left. In the Crossfire tonight, we've got a Democratic congressman, and we've got the head of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. Now, look, I know everybody is all hyper-focused on Obamacare and Obama's bad poll numbers, but we'll get to that. But you know what? There is a deeper story here, and I think we're missing it. President Obama this afternoon highlighted his achievements on the economy, and they're actually surprisingly good. Stocks, that means your retirement accounts, way, way up, near all-time highs. Unemployment, down. American energy production, which nobody's talking about, up, which means gas prices, down. Now remember, this is a guy who took over just as the country was falling into the worst economic slump since the Great Depression. Listen to him now.
I do want to say, though, that beyond the headlines, we have made real progress in the economy, and sometimes that hasn't gotten enough attention.
Now listen, you got to give the guy some credit here. Just on the gas prices alone, if it's a Republican, you guys be jumping up and down.
Yeah, well, if only the president could run on low gas prices in 2014, and then the Democrats could take up that mantra, and that'd be enough in 2016. Somehow, I don't think he's going to get off that easy. Joining us in the Crossfire, Democratic Congressman Joe Crowley and Ralph Reed of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. Congressman Crowley, let me start with you. This is the reality. In today's ABC Washington Post poll, the president is down 15 points from January when it comes to being a strong leader. He's down 8 points for being honest and trustworthy. Most damning, though, 70% of the country think he's on the wrong track. That's a double-digit increase since May. Is 70% of the country wrong?
I think it's also reflective of where they see their government going. It's not just the president. I think it's the entire Congress as well. You have a dysfunctional Congress that's working right now. The Republican Congress has no vision. It has no agenda for 2014. And I think to some degree the president pays some of the price of that. But, you know,
these numbers are about the president.
Polls go up and down. They're not just reflective of the president. They're reflective of what's happening right now in the times. We live in a very unsettling world. And quite frankly, what my Republican colleagues continue to do is to create uncertainty, further uncertainty, more fiscal cliffs to come, unfortunately. We have a CR, a continuing resolution that will expire in mid-January, and we have another debt ceiling coming in February. Hello?
But congressmen in the same poll asked for whom they would vote if they could take a mulligan on 2012. More people said Romney than Obama.
Well, look,
explain that to me.
Polls go up and down.
Okay, so we'll ignore it. We'll ignore it.
No, but the president's not leading. He's leading. He's not. You don't play the poll. You do what's right for the American people. That's what the president's been about.
The American people are not happy with the president.
They'd like to see a Congress with an agenda. It doesn't exist right now.
All right. And speaking of not happy and speaking about polls, first of all, I'm glad to have you here, sir.
Good to be here, Van.
Before we say any more, I want to make sure we talk about the Republican numbers. They look pretty bad as well if we want to show those. I do think we have a situation where both parties are in deep trouble. You have only 30% of the folks are in favorable of the Republicans right now. 64% say they don't like the Republican Party. And when you talk about the congressional Republicans, they're like in single digits. So what are you guys going to do? Where are your good ideas to try to move the country forward? All we hear is how bad Obama is from you guys.
Well, we have to offer positive alternatives to the failure of Obamacare. But the reality is, Van, there's no way around the fact that 2014 is going to be a referendum on the car wreck and the train wreck that is Obamacare. And I think some of the poll ratings that S.E. was talking about, this is not just polls going up and going down. It's not just that. This is the first time since he took the oath of office as president that a majority of the American people have said they don't think he's honest and trustworthy. This is also the first time in the history of the ABC News poll that he's upside down on his favorable rating. More people have an unfavorable personal view of him than have a favorable view. And that's devastating, because if you rewind the tape to 2012, Romney won on who was the strongest leader. He won on who shared my values more. He won that by 23 points, by the way. And he won on who had a better plan for the future. But by a margin of 81 to 19, he lost on who cared more about me, and now Obama's losing on that.
Listen, I agree the poll numbers go up and down, but aren't you making my point? Isn't he making my point that their only talking point is how bad Obama is? I haven't heard one positive idea.
Your only talking point is how bad Republicans are doing.
We're fixing the economy. We got gas prices.
You want a positive idea? I'll give you a positive idea. We've been offering it for years. Allows insurance companies to offer Volkswagen-style policies instead of Cadillac policies that cover things like preventative care, primary care, and catastrophic care, combined with a health savings account. If you did that, the average family of 4 could get an affordable policy combined with a health savings account for $100 a month. We've been offering that for years. What did Obamacare do? What did Obamacare do? It did the opposite.
Ralph,
it loaded them down with mandates and drove premiums up.
Ralph, with all due respect, it gives new meaning to the adage, if at first you don't succeed, try again. 47 times the attempt to undermine, to repeal the Affordable Care Act, not even waiting to see whether or not it would work or not. Putting aside the glitches that have happened on the rollout, and by the way, this isn't the first time we've seen glitches in rollouts. We saw it with Medicare Part D. Democrats weren't out there trying to decry or undermine Medicare Part D.
The only defense is comparing
glitches. Congressman, these are not glitches. 5.2 million people have had their insurance policies canceled. That is not a glitch.
Ralph,
that is a failed policy.
It comes back to a vision. We want to have an opportunity for people in this country, heretofore, who have not been able to afford insurance, to have that opportunity. The Republicans have offered, despite what you've said so far, they've offered nothing in response to the 47 attempts to undermine the Affordable Care Act.
That's not true.
Let me change
both Steve Scalise and Dr. and Congressman Tom Price have both offered comprehensive alternative health care reform package.
I've never seen it on the floor.
Let me move on. So we're talking about Republicans, we're talking about Democrats, we're talking about character. You have a Republican congressperson who just today, turns out, has been arrested for cocaine possession. Is that a Republican that you think should stay in the Republican caucus, or should he resign?
Well, I'm not, if that's happened today, I've been in meetings all day and I'm not familiar with that development, but they're going to be...
certainly not representative.
No, I mean,
let me ask...
Here's the situation.
Sure, and I'm going to ask you the same thing. He's your colleague.
There are bad actors in both parties.
Let me bring us back to Obamacare. I actually think Van is right. Republicans need to come to the table with some good ideas. You're right, Ralph, that we've brought some good ideas, but it sounds like we talk more about repeal. I want Republicans too, but that doesn't change the fact that Obamacare is putting Democrats in peril, Congressman. Here's what Charlie Rangel, your colleague from New York, said last week. Saying you're sorry, Obama, doesn't help me worth a damn at the polls unless I can staple your remarks to the ballot. Do you agree with Congressman Rangel? Do you feel his pain where Democrats are looking ahead to 2014?
Look, as I said before, the rollout has been less than stellar, okay? We know that. That's not news. But what the president is dedicated to is to seeing this law through. He wants to fix the glitches. He wants to fix the rollout and get the websites working. But more importantly, he wants to get insurance for people who heretofore haven't been able to afford it. What is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. And in the end, as I said before, no bill has made it to the floor as an alternative. It's only been about repeal.
So is he willing to see it through at the expense of the American people, at the expense of the Democratic caucus, who's now in absolute panic and chaos right now?
I'll tell you what, Congressman, I'll make a deal with you,
We have other issues as well we have to deal with.
Congressman, I'll make a deal with you. We'll bring it to the floor and vote for it if you can get Harry Reid to give us a vote in the Senate.
Well,
how about
Harry
that?
Reid
Because we've sent
Ralph, I know you're not in the House.
Listen,
but Harry Reid is not a member of the House.
We voted to delay the individual mandate. Reid would not allow a vote. We voted to repeal the individual mandate. Reid would not allow a vote. We passed legislation that would have protected religious charities. Reid would not allow a vote. The Senate, which your party controls, has been the graveyard of our reforms on hundreds of pieces of legislation.
With all due respect, we can fix a website. You can't fix a broken agenda. In fact, you can't fix agenda that
Can you
lacks
fix a
ideas.
broken law?
There are
Because
no ideas.
people are suggesting this is not just a website problem.
The reality is we can't really bring anything up to amend the bill because their only goal is to repeal and to undermine it. You can't have an honest discussion on this on the floor right now. They know it.